Sarah Klein. You're watching another Supernatural review, and this is season 7, episode 21, Reading is Fundamental. If you're new here, I do a recap and review of every single episode of Supernatural, so let's get into it. So this was a super serialized episode, very serialized if you couldn't tell. And I think it was okay as a serialized episode. Like, I feel like a lot of times in Supernatural, serialized episodes aren't as strong. And, you know, comparing this to episodic episodes, a lot of times, especially the episodic episodes in this season that I felt like were on the stronger side, like, this doesn't really compare. But when you're like, okay, like, I gotta sit through a serialized episode, like, we have like 2 episodes after this left, so like, it's gonna be all serialization the rest of this. Sorry guys, there's no more episodic this season. That's just like how it's gonna go. You're sitting through it, you're like, this is actually okay, like, it's not the worst thing. And there was a lot of things happening in this episode, and you know, certain things that they did that was smart, so like, in the end, it was okay. So we were introduced to Kevin this episode, which he is another character kind of like Charlie, which actually I don't think he's had as many episodes as Charlie in the future, but don't quote me on that. He's another character that we're kind of introduced and that we're gonna see in the future, and you know, everything in the future, and not getting into exactly what it is. But the same thing, it's like the same thing the writers did where they like write a character that we're gonna like, and like it's something where I think this one more heavily than Charlie, it's kind of evident that we're gonna see him in the future just because based on his storyline and what his purpose is. You know, they write these characters that we would love. Like, he's funny, and well, I don't know if necessarily he's funny, but his situation's funny, and so it adds the relief, the comic relief. And when they're like, okay, we need to write this character, we need to write this prophet, you know, instead of having like maybe like a 40-year-old man, they're like, what if we have like a teenage boy who's like scared and stuff, and just like the way they write it, you know. But I can't believe they did that in fact the episodes, Charlie and Kevin. Like, I totally forgot that, and I kind of forgot that Kevin was coming up. I think maybe a little bit back in my mind I knew that Charlie was going to come up, but I totally kind of forgot Kevin as a character. Sorry Kevin. But it's just like, I don't know, like there's just a lot of things that, you know, every so often when you watch a random episode of Supernatural, like a lot of times you forget just about these characters that, you know, are in more than like 3 episodes, because I feel like they both were at least for more than 3 episodes. And so when you really like watch the series start to end, you like get that more. So anyway, Cass is back, which I was happy about because, you know, it's kind of critical of like, you know, them bringing back Cass to do this, and so, or what his situation is. So it wasn't too many episodes he was in that state. I forget the exact amount. I mean, it would be weird if then the next episode he was fine. So I think it's fine the amount of episodes he had it. And I think it's smart of the writers for Cass to be in this state. It's something where it's like, it adds something new, it's something different, and you know, Misha gets to play a little bit of a different version of Cass where he's like not exactly himself, but now he's conscious and he can be a character. And I don't know how much longer he is in this state. I can't remember it, but hopefully it's not too much longer, because I feel like if it's too much longer, it doesn't work, it's not right and everything. But I think it's smart for them to do this and try something different, and you know, take advantage of things that where they can do something different and everything. Meg is confusing. I'm like so confused what side she's on. Like, is she on the demon side? Is she on their side? Is she just on Cass' side? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And I think they're trying to add it for tension. They needed her to go to the demons in that scene, but it's just like, it's confusing. It doesn't make sense. I don't get it. Something too where like my first time watching Supernatural, like I loved Meg, and especially this version of Meg. Like, she was like my favorite character and I loved her so much, and it's something that I always like felt that way. But now rewatching the series back, like I don't love Meg the same way. I don't know if she would be like, because that's the thing, is she was my top female character, right? And I'm trying to think, like, is she still my top female character? Like, there's not that many female characters, so like maybe she is, maybe she's still my top female character. But like, I just like had so much more love for her my first time watching that I don't have now, and so it's just so interesting. And I don't know, like maybe in future episodes I get more love for her. Like, I don't know exactly why I'm remembering her so much greater than I'm now realizing. I don't know if it's something when you analyze it and you're like, you analyze these episodes and you're like, what is Micah doing this episode? What she's doing this episode doesn't make sense, and that kind of changes your perspective or whatever. But I think that's interesting, like different times you watch a series, like maybe you like one character more than other characters, and just like certain things like that that like kind of come up, and like you have different perspective on things. And I think that's what you know, watching shows is, that you know, not just like your second time watching, you especially when you're analyzing, you get to like see things more and see it more clearly. But it just like kind of depends on like where you are in life, because my first time watching was like almost 10 years ago, and so I was such a different point in life you know, such a different person, and so now like I have such a different perspective on things, and so maybe, you know, 20-something-year-old Rel doesn't like Meg as much as teenage Rel liked Meg. So I felt like the episode was okay, like it did the things, you know, we learned that Kevin's a prophet, which I think, you know, Chuck was a prophet technically, so we've dealt with prophets before and all this stuff, and so the angel stuff was also a little bit confusing, a little bit all over the place. And then, I mean, it's just kind of confusing what the Leviathans want with him, but I guess because he can read that thing. And that was the thing that they got at the end of the last episode, because I was saying in the video before that, like, I think they retrieved something at the end of the episode, but I wasn't sure, and it was like the thing that he was reading. I think the thing that he's reading can say how you can end Leviathans, and that's the point, I guess. Also, okay, Leviathans can be angels, like, I don't get it. Like, weren't the angels created before the Leviathans? I just like don't get it, and I think that's something they did, you know, but it's something that doesn't make sense. Anyway, I'm gonna end it here. So as a serialized episode, it was pretty good, and as I said last video, I only have 4 episodes on the bad list, so we're gonna see what we're gonna do about that. But anyway, I'm gonna end it here. So thank you guys for watching, like, comment, subscribe, and bye.